Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be comparing silver embossing powders, and I picked the 4 most popular brands to buy because I figured why not see which one really works the best. And we're going to try it on 3 kinds of paper. We're going to try it on Recollections 110-pound heavyweight from Michaels. And it's unfortunately cream colored because I couldn't find my white. We're going to try Neenah Solar White 90 pound, and we're going to try Georgia Pacific that you get at Walmart or Sam's Club 110 pound. It's a very light 110 pound compared to the Recollections. I'll kind of flick it for you. Can you see how that is? And then this sounds much more like cardboard. So there is a big difference when you're looking at 110 pound cardstocks. I like to make sure I point those things out to you. And we're going to start with Versamark. That's the typical ink used with embossing powders, but we might try a couple more just to play with it if there's a big difference between the 4. I don't envision there being a big difference, but you never know. Now I'm going to go over them price-wise. The Brutus Monroe, which is the biggest container, which is 1 ounce, is $5.99 in their online store. Wow is a half an ounce. It's $3.49 full price at Joann.com. And so it's a half. This is a half ounce. The Ranger comes from Joann's as well. It's $4.99 and you get 0.56 ounces there. And then Stampin Up, theirs is $5 for a half of an ounce. And this one I put the little I put a little 1 ounce punch on there and put the embossing powder on it so I could see what color it was when I looked into my box. The rest of them you could see through the lid, except for this one. I haven't done that yet, but that's why I put that little dot on there. What I thought I would do is 2 things. I thought I would do a sentiment and a circle, a full circle, to see if there's any difference in how they perform when doing a sentiment and when they're working on a full image. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work with I'm going to move this over a little bit, with the Wow. It's $3.49 full price at Joann's, and I'm just going to use my pouch on the whole paper. And if you're not familiar with this, you can make your own by just putting cornstarch into a doubled over knee-high, and that'll work. Or baby powder would work the same, or you could use a baby sock and knot them, and that'll work too. I'll show you the one that I made, and I used it for years and loved it and never had any problem with it. Here's all I did was I put cornstarch in, this is a knee-high, and then I knotted it and cut off the top, and it worked great. This is the ones you buy in a store. One of my viewers sent me that, which was really nice. My Versamark is an old pad. Hopefully it works well. We're going to start first with our Wow. And and if you don't know about what Versamark is a clear ink. It's a watermark, which means it just leaves, I'll show you, it just leaves a little, can you see that little line right there? That's all it leaves behind. It's very sticky, and if you need to refill it, oftentimes Lindsay the Frugal Crafter tells you you could just use glycerin and some water, or glycerin and some alcohol, and that will refresh it. Mine is really dirty, and I make no apologies for that. It's well used and well loved. The stamps I'm going to be using they're from Rubber Stamp Tapestry, the Peg Stamp people. Online, they're www.pegstamps.com. And this is from my well, this was my idea. I talked to Rebecca, the owner, and said it would be really great if you had a range of circles that are filled in, and she let me name them, and I called them Perfect Layering Circles, and you get a set of 5 of them. I love them, and so I'm going to be using that today. Hopefully I got a good inking. I think I did. And then the other stamp I'm using is just another peg stamp. This one is Happy Birthday. And again, we're only doing the wow. And I have it in this little bottle if I can get it open. We'll call that wow. It's hard to get open. So what I think I'm going to do is put the embossing powder on all of my backgrounds first. I'm going to stamp all of them and then heat set all of them, so you don't have to watch me heat setting. So I stamped it and put the powder on, and I'm going to just leave the powder on this piece of paper. You know I'm going to get that everywhere, but still I'm going to do it, because you know I don't live and learn. I just make a big mess and go with it. Okay, now that was the Recollection. So this is Georgia Pacific. That's the paper we're using. Take our little piece of paper and dump it over there. And last but not least is our Neenah Solar White 90-pound camera. There's that one. And happy birthday. Oh, I rocked the stamp a little so I didn't get the whole circle. That's my fault. We won't hold that against the powder. Okay, I can put all the rest of this back. So if you've never used embossing powder, what you do is you just have a piece of paper like that, and you just put the excess embossing powder back in your bottle, and then you just close it up. So that was our wow. I'll put that aside. Next we're going to go with our, I'm going to heat them up. Jeez, I forgot that part. When you heat up anything, especially anything that's solid like this, you really need to make sure that your heat tool is very, very hot. Otherwise, you'll struggle getting this to activate, I guess I'll call it. And the way you know it's activated is it changes in color. It goes from clear, like your basic, to really shiny. Goes from a powdery look to a shiny look. There's that one. And the longer this is heated for, the faster it will turn them to shiny. And as soon as it turns shiny, you need to move your heat tool away, because if you don't, you're going to end up scorching your paper or making a mess of what you've done. Okay. I'm not going to go over everything, like how it performed, until we're done with all of them, because I figured that would just take way too long. The next we're going to go over is our Ranger. That's $4.99. That's full price at Joann's, and it looks like this in the bottle. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stamp them all on the same 3 papers. How'd I do? Did pretty good, I think. And happy birthday. And if you get some strings, like, I don't know if you can see this right here, I have a little, I'll show it to you up close. Hold on, I gotta get a paintbrush first. If you got a little string, can you see right there? I have like a little string, and right here, all you need to do is get a brush, or if it's far enough away, you could use your finger and just kind of brush it away, and then you blow off the excess. That's all you need to do. This one has a little hair on it, and you're going to see what happens when you don't wipe it off. I didn't see that hair before. You probably see how waffly these are. I think I'm going to do an extra one at the end where I'm going to double stamp it, or yeah, well, I'm going to double stamp it, but I'm going to double heat it too, because that will make a big difference in our end results. And next one is Stampin' Up. It's $5 for a ½ ounce. So they're pretty much roughly the same price. Probably your best bang for your buck is, the WOW is $3.49, so you could use a coupon on that and get it for probably around $2. And the Ranger, you could probably use a coupon. It's $4.99. If you used a coupon on that, you probably could get it for around, I don't know, $2, $2.50, something like that. This Stampin' Up one has a lot of debris in the pad, or in the bottle, because I've used it a lot. That's another thing I want to advise you to do. Make sure you put this back in the bottle before you heat that, put that heat tool to it. Otherwise, you're going to blow everything that's on your counter all over the place, and you don't want that. Neenah Solar White. I rocked the Happy Birthday on this one, so it's going to be a little bit weird looking. And then the last one we're going to be doing is the Brutus Monroe. Now, I've heard a lot of really great things about Brutus Monroe's embossing powders, but I haven't really used them yet. This is a new bottle for me. I haven't done anything with it, so we're all going to get to experience it together. This is the Georgia Pacific, and it's thin enough that you can just kind of tap it, fold it, and tap it back in the bottle. The rest of them would not allow you to do that because they're thicker paper. And then after I do this, we're going to do one more circle, but we're going to do it, we're going to put it in the powder twice. And by doing that, it should get rid of all that waffle that you can see on the circles. And I wanted to do the circles on purpose so that you could see the problem you have when you only heat emboss once. When you do layers of heat embossing, you're going to end up having a much more filled in design, and I'm going to show you that now. So we're going to do that on the far right, and I'm going to do all 3 pages at the same time because I think that'll be easy enough to do. There's one. There's one. There's one. Now we're going to heat it all up, and then I'll show you how to do it a second time. Now when you do this, you want to make sure that they are cooled before you do it a second time. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to ink this up, and we're going to go right over our first circle, like that. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other 2. We're ready to roll. Now this should make it so that our silver is not going to look so waffly. They should end up looking more filled in and clean, more like molten. See the difference? So since you saw me do that, I think for time's sake what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do the other 3, and then we'll come back when I'm done so that you don't have to sit and watch me do that all over again. Since you watch me do all the other ones, it's not fair to make you do this over and over again. So I'll be back when I'm finished with all of them. Okay, so let's start with our Georgia Pacific, and we'll look at them. Hopefully I can hold it up to the camera more. Okay, here's our WOW. You can see that how like waffly this is. And on this side, I don't know if you can see, it's a lot flatter. It doesn't have the waffles on it, but it's kind of bubbly. And I wanted to tell you, remember how in the very first one I inked them twice? I figured it would only be right to ink all of the pages, all of these second ones, twice, so that I had double the ink on it. Even though I heat set them twice, I made sure there was double the ink on it so that it would really adhere the powder. And this one really has a pretty bubbly look. So I guess I'll just stick with Wow. That was a Georgia Pacific. Now here is the Wow on the 110 pound Recollections. You can see how waffly that is. It's pretty seriously waffly. Same thing on this side. You can see how it has kind of like craters. I forgot to talk about Happy Birthday. The Happy Birthday I think looks fine. And this is a super fine powder, so it isn't necessarily meant for a filled in effect, but if you use double the powder, it still should have had a filled in circle, if that makes sense. And then on this one, the left circle is my fault because I didn't stamp the whole thing, but you can see how nice the Happy Birthday looks. And again, with the waffle on this one, how it has a little bit of like bubbly look to it, like the molten, when it gets kind of a molten appearance when it's heating, but then it settles down. This was on the Neenah. So let's go to Ranger next. Now we're staying on Neenah. You can see the same thing with the little dots, but and the Happy Birthday, it looks good. This I think looks better than this one, but we'll go to the next paper and see what you think. Same bubbly look. The Happy Birthday looks fine. See how much better on, this is the Recollections, on this one. Do you see how much better this one looks, how much cleaner this one looks than that one? So the paper probably has something to do with it too. That's why I like to show you the different papers. And Neenah should have been the best because it's, expensive paper. But anyway, now we'll go to our Georgia Pacific with the Rangers. Very bumpy. Happy Birthday is fine. And then look how nice that is. That's really nice. I think of the three of these, of all of them, I'm going to just put them close together so you can see, hopefully, on this, like what they look like over here. I think if I had to tell you which one I think looks the best, I think it's this one. Of the, if we're looking at the three that are doubly stamped and inked. Okay, on the Ranger, I don't know if I talked about Ranger or not, but this did about the same as the Wow. Happy Birthday looks the same, but this is much cleaner. This is the Georgia Pacific. And then on the Recollections, about the same as the Wow. The Happy Birthday looks the same. So far, I think the Georgia Pacific looks better of those two. And then on the Neenah Solar White, this looks about the same. It's a little, about the same as that. Happy Birthday is the same. This one, I guess, if we're choosing one of these, I would say this one on the right looks the best. Sorry for that bad check mark, but I'd say that really looks the cleanest. And we'll go to the Stampin' Up. About the same. Happy Birthday, that was my fault because I moved it. This I think looks cleaner than that one does. On this one, which is the Recollections, kind of waffly. Happy Birthday is the same. That one has more dots or spots in it, craters we'll call them. And then this is the Georgia Pacific. same as the others. The Happy Birthday looks really good. This one, let's see, Crater or Boo Boo Wise, we'll call it. I'm getting a little confused about which one is which. If I had to guess on these, I think I would go with the Neenah on that one, of the three of them. And then on the Brutus Monroe, all three look the same to me. And the Happy Birthday looks the same on all three. And then let's compare. I would definitely rule out this one. It has spots that aren't pretty. This one isn't bad. But of the three of them, I'm going to go with the, I think that's Neenah, yeah. So, when it comes to the left-hand side, I don't think any of them did a spectacular job. Yeah, they cover the space, but if you're looking for a really clean look, and some of these were super fine. The Wow was super fine, and the Ranger was super fine, and so was the Brutus Monroe, but I don't think the Stampin' Up! Is just your regular powder. So that didn't make a difference for us at all. You know, the when you're looking at whether it filled it in more, you'd think that the Stampin' Up! Would be a lot cleaner, look more like this side than the other ones, but I don't really see that. Here's that one, the Stampin' Up! Not great. And there's that one. This one, of the three of them, that one's more filled in. And that's the Neenah Solar White. So I guess if I was picking, I would say it really depends on the paper you're using and the embossing powder, because with the Ranger did best on the Georgia Pacific. The Wow did best on Recollections, and Neenah Solar White did best with Stampin' Up! And Brutus Monroe. So if you're using Stampin' Up! And Brutus Monroe, you're going to get this appearance on that paper. If you're using Wow, you're going to get this appearance on this paper. And honestly, when you looked at the Recollections, they all look about the same, but when you compare them to the other ones, there is definitely a difference. And in this one, the Ranger, I think, really did best on that Georgia Pacific. Anyway, I hope that gave you some ideas about how to use your silver embossing powder, and maybe a way to look at it so that you realize when you're using super fine, you should be using it more for your sentiments. But if you use it doubly, like we did here, it should have filled in that whole circle with no problem, and not have those bubbly looks to them. And I went over them with my heat tool the same amount for all of them, so that shouldn't have made a difference. But that's how we stand. Now I am going to be doing another embossing powder video. The next embossing powder video I'm going to do will show you the different varieties of embossing powders, because there's super fine, there's normal, there's ultra thick, and then there's kind of, I'll call it chunky. So I want to go over those with you so you can kind of see the different options you have for using them. But in the meantime, I hope this gave you some help on your silver embossing powders, that you give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media, because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.